Hi guys! Today we'll be talking about the element of wood or tree, which we don't have in the West, and what it means in Chinese philosophy. 5 elements have been used in Chinese culture even prior to the Taoist philosophy, and the Taoists have pushed it further from the initial idea of the elements, meaning they have tried to live by that philosophy and to use different foods, exercises, way of life to follow nature and to make their lives longer. So, what is wood connected to and how can you use it in witchcraft? These 5 elements in this particular philosophy do not belong to Western witchcraft. It is just a tool, which I want to say prior to everything. However, you can use them no matter which system you're using, because once you know the theory, you can connect the elements you know already. So, tree is a living element, a living being, and it is connected to the childhood, to the beginning of our life. When we have just been created, we learn to talk, we learn walking, we learn what's around us, and we explore the world. The element of tree acts pretty much like a regular tree in life. When it's young, it's really flexible. It doesn't take too much space, but it can withstand a lot of environmental pressure. The more it ages, the more rigid it becomes. It takes up its space, it learns to coexist with the plants around, with whatever is around it, and it survives that way. In human life, wood element or tree element are considered to be temporary. Not really temporary, you have it your all life long. However, as long as the wood is considered to be young, it means that you have flexibility in your life. You embrace change. You can change your ideas in a whim, like the kids are playing and then they're on a tank now, and next moment they're on a ship and they're pirates and then they are wizards. And this is what the tree does. It works with your imagination and it lets you create worlds around you. So it's very easy to use in astral projections and work. It was considered a gift that an elderly person has a tree element that is still flexible. Many of us live nowadays and think, oh, my time has passed, I'm old already, at the age of 35 even, some of us. But the truth is, your time is never over. It depends how much you can adapt to the environment. In Chinese philosophy, tree is connected to a bunch of analogies, which I will mention just shortly. You can assign different herbs, different ingredients, and taste, symptom, pretty much everything to every element. So wood is connected to youth, as we said, to early morning. It has a sour taste. So all ingredients that have a sour taste, they belong there. It is connected to expansion and change. It is careless years where you're just exploring. So what does this mean for, let's say, astral work or for the witchcraft? It has a lot to do with emotions. The emotion connected to the tree element is anger. So if you have issues with expressing too much anger, or on the other hand, you're eating your own anger and you don't let it out. If you have a weight problem, you're too thin or you take up too much space, or so you think, this tells something about your tree element. So let's say you would like to work on your anger issue. Additionally, you will probably do some cord cutting and trying to banish people from your life, which are really not beneficial to you. But on the other hand, there is always a change that comes with whatever you're trying to achieve. Meaning, if you try to banish a person magically, but you do not do this in life, you do not take a stance, it's less likely it will happen. So by invoking different aspects of the tree element, you can make all of this work better. We know that magic is not only in the astral realm, it's all around us. So the whole environment has to be correct for it to work. When you have anger issues or somebody else has anger issues toward you, some of us have seen that with parents which seem to like our brother or sister, but they're really angry with us all the time. We can work with this element together. From the simple correspondence of the herbs, which one of them would be chamomile, for example, and then over different stones that are connected to this element, you can choose to take up space, and you should. We live in different societies. Not every culture is the same. Where I'm from, it's very normal that the family or friends just come over whenever they want. It is normal that they tell you what kind of parent to be. It is normal that they interfere with your life. They tell you how to raise your kids. They buy them the stuff that you do not want them to have for whatever reason. Everybody thinks they have the right to tell you what to do. People are very rigid. You can see that in their faces when you're outside. You can see that nobody's smiling. Everybody has a really weird, angry face with, those anger lines here. It's incredible. In some other cultures, people are more estranged and don't live together. Here we live 3 generations in the same house sometimes. In more Western countries, people do not live together, but still there is buried anger in there. People do not talk about it and do not talk about the emotions, do not resolve it. So this stays with us, and this keeps us in certain patterns of life. We cannot change, we do not even think about it. And this is causing us grief in many different ways. So how can you use the tree for your own benefit in magic? Most of the things you can do in astral realm. Being able to enter trance is being able for you to already live what you want to achieve, which also is one of the techniques in magic, because you say, so mote it be, or so it is already. And we can use this. So let's say you're doing astral travel. There is a whole idea of doing elemental travels, which might or might not be so prominent in the West. However, I've been using it for a long time for therapy and for magic work. There are different ways to proceed with the wood element. You can either create the whole experience in the astral, just concentrating on one element by creating a portal, or you can experience symbols from the tree element while you're doing different kinds of astral travel. A typical tree journey has to do with anger, with space, and with change. If you have either too much of it in your life or too little, if you think you're incapable to change, then that's the right element for you to go for. So let's start a little exercise. When you're doing elemental travel, you will want to start off somewhere that is close to that element. So for the tree, it's easiest to start in a park or in the woods, So imagine a place in the woods, in a forest, a camping spot that you know very well. Look around you and remember how it looks like. Look for the details. Listen what is around you, what kind of noises appear. How is the air? Is it warm or cold? Do you have your shoes on or are you barefoot? How is the soil or grass beneath your feet? Choose a direction to walk in. And again, follow. What do you see? What do you hear? How does it feel? The more times you go through your senses, from your sight to your feelings, you're going to go deeper into this vision. When you're ready, turn around and just look in a direction that you usually don't go. You will see a portal made out of woven different twines, ivy, branches. It just stands there in between the trees. You can walk to the portal, and when you're ready, you can step through it. What happens on the other side will be something that your mind thinks is most important to go through right now. It could be something from your life, a situation. It could be something totally made up. It could be a place where you want to be. In my experience, when you go through a tree portal, it mostly is open space. It is maybe a huge house that you live in the astral realm. It might have people inside or not have anyone at all. It might also have visions of you living out your anger in any possible way. Whatever it is, this is a way for your mind to cope with whatever you're dealing with, and you can actively work on whatever is going to happen there. It is meant that if you are deep enough in this trance state, in this vision, you will be able to decide what you're going to do. And the more times you do it, of course, the more experienced you are and easier it is for you to change. I want to say that one big part of the tree experience has to do with shapeshifting. It happens in all other elements as well, but it seems to be mostly in the tree element for the simple reason that you get to experience yourself different. People often change into different animals or just beings from whatever realm it is. And it's amazing because if you have a problem with a tree, you probably have a problem expressing what you feel, your anger, your sadness, because it's not proper, because we don't talk about this, because it's not yours to say. If you experience this as a different being, maybe even a person you know, or an animal, you will most probably take up the senses of that being. If you're a fox, you're going to feel the wind different. You're going to run different. You're going to taste stuff in the air that you cannot do as a human being. Your line of sight will be much lower, but it will allow you to move and to experience more. In my experience, if you let the anger eat you away, you will not be able to manifest stuff that you want otherwise. In order to let go of the anger, we need to change. And that's maybe after death the scariest thing that a person can feel. Change involves you moving away or changing your job or tell that one person in your life that they're hurting you or that you don't even want to talk to them anymore. Change also involves learning more, changing what you do in life, change of professions maybe even, but mostly if it's connected with learning, it's not only expanding your physical boundaries, it's also expanding your mental boundaries. And this is what we want to do in Magick. Nobody does stuff just so they can do one same ritual for 20 years. Let's say you're having this vision, whatever happens after you step through that portal, and you get stuck. This might happen more often in the tree element because we are stuck if we have a problem with the tree. One way to get unstuck would be to turn around, look some other way, hear a sound all of a sudden, and it goes on. At any time, you can return to the portal. Some people need to walk the same way back. Some people just appear there. I think it's highly individual, but you will always find a way back. And when you step back out from there, you usually take some ideas into real life. It helps a lot if you're doing any kind of manifestation work or any kind of ritual where you want something gone or something new in your life, to think about these experiences, because the tree lets you stay a kid way longer. It lets your mind work in different ways. If your tree element is strong, you allow change, you allow yourself to take up space and to speak up. You will be thinking outside the box. You will get the much needed creative ideas if you do any kind of creative work. And if you don't, even if you work in whatever corporation, you will still feel like you're hurt, because living through your experiences will make you take up a different stance, even if you don't really see it at the beginning. If you're interested to learn more about the tree element, there is a huge amount of information online and in different books. You can always use this knowledge not only for magic, but different aspects of your life. Next week, I'll be talking about the fire element, what it's connected to, what are its colors, herbs, what aspects of life you can work on with it, and how you can use it in magic. If you have any questions, please comment down below and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you all.